Welcome to my views on news. I am back with another video. Viewers, third phase of Ethiopia-Tigray Eritrea conflict started on the 24th of August last month. And now fighting is ongoing on multiple fronts. Eritrean military is involved in this fighting, not officially confirmed. But question is, how strong is Eritrean military? What are the capabilities of Eritrean military? Because the answer to this question would be linked to the final outcome of this conflict. Strength of Eritrean and Ethiopian militaries matters a lot when it comes to taking over entire Tigray or parts of Tigray. Tigray supporters claim that EDF, Eritrean Defense Force, has been considerably weakened. And that is why reservists are being called, conscription is intensifying in Eritrea. What is the real picture? Firstly, let's start from November 2020 when Ethiopia-Eritrea War broke out. Tigray is obviously a region. When I say Ethiopia, Eritrea, Tigray, I don't mean that Tigray is a country. After November 2020, how many pieces of military equipment of Eritrean Defense Force were captured by Tigray fighters? Most of the military equipment which Tigray fighters seized belonged to Ethiopian National Defense Force. I have been covering since November 2020. That is why I'm saying that Tigray fighters did not capture lots of Eritrean weapons, Eritrean howitzers, tanks, or other weapons. Mainly, it was ENDF military equipment which was seized by Tigray fighters. Secondly, how many Eritrean soldiers were taken prisoner? How many were shown by Tigray government? And we know that Tigray shows its POWs, which its forces capture. Thousands are being shown these days, hundreds rather, ENDF soldiers. But how many Eritrean soldiers were shown as POWs since the start of this conflict in November 2020? I don't think lots of Eritrean soldiers have been shown as POWs. So either they were not captured, or they were just, they were captured but killed, or they were killed. Thirdly, Eritrea has been a center of military trainings for the region. Somalia's troops are still in Eritrea. The troops received military training there, and ground forces as well. Naval forces of Somalia are also receiving military training there. Fano fighters too. Amhara regional government forces, they were trained by Eritrean instructors, and Amhara militias were trained in recent months by Eritrean military instructors. It means that in the region, Eritrean military instructors are seen as skilled. That is why countries send their troops for training to Eritrea. So, we can sum up that since November 2020 till today, we have not seen lots of losses suffered by Eritrean military. And it's partly due to the fact that Eritrean military is deployed at the back. It's not deployed at the front. At the front, there is Ethiopian National Defense Force. Then at the back, there is ENDF, though fronts are led by Eritrean generals. That is what we have been seeing since last year, that fronts close to Tigray Eritrea border, they were being led by Eritrean generals. But there was deployment of ENDF at the front, EDF at the back. And we're seeing the same. Now that Ethiopian National Defense Force troops, they have entered Eritrea by road, by air as well. And these ENDF troops on Shiraro, Shere, other fronts are deployed at the front. Eritrean military is at the back. So it is a way of protecting their military, that Eritrean officers don't deploy their troops at the front. So that is why they suffer less losses. And military equipment as well. Eritrean military has been mostly using ENDF's military equipment. ENDF's howitzers, tanks are being used by Eritrean military, and these cargo flights which are being tracked between Ethiopia and Eritrea, some say, are carrying ENDF military equipment as well, which will be used by Eritrean military. Will this military equipment return to Ethiopia, or will it remain in Eritrea? That is also a point. So Eritrea is not deploying its military assets completely to front lines. Rather, it is relying on ENDF's military equipment, and some of this military equipment would remain in Eritrea even after the conclusion of this war. So it means that so far, Eritrean military has not suffered any major losses in this war. People don't agree with this analysis, especially Tigrayans, but evidence does not support that EDF has been weakened. Some say there are internal problems in Eritrea. Generals could turn against Isaias Afwerki, Eritrean ruler. People would rise against Eritrean government. I don't see any sign of revolution, any sign of uprising against Eritrean leader Isaias Afwerki. He is in charge. He is in control of the situation. He is in control of the country. There is no signs of any coup in Eritrea. Any tangible information about coups has not been seen so far. Eritrean military is used to fighting as well. Eritrean military involved in several conflicts with Djibouti, with Yemen, involvement in Sudan as well, with Ethiopia, and now in Tigray. So, Eritrean these conflicts do not they are not a problem for Eritrean military. It's not that the military is going to stage a coup against Eritrean President Isaias Afwerki. Now then, why is that reservists are being called and intensified campaign of conscription is being seen in Eritrea, which is now being reported by international news outlets as well, which we reported several days ago? Well, it's a part of preparation for a long war, because this war could go on for months if there is no solution. So that is why reservists are being called up to the age of 55. They have been intimated that they should report to their units with whatever they have in terms of blankets, clothes, and other things. So they are reporting at their units, and from where they'll be deployed to different fronts. Secondly, conscription is already ongoing. Conscription was seen in Tigray as well, but we know that Eritrea has been practicing conscription for years. And this war has led to intensified conscription. Youth are the target of this conscription. But conscription and order to reservists to report at units do not mean that Eritrean military is weak. So my understanding is that Eritrea is not weak militarily. Eritrea is as strong, or you can say Eritrea has not suffered any major losses in terms of its military equipment, in terms of its personnel since the start of this war. Rather, it might be in possession of Ethiopian National Defense Force military equipment being used by Eritrean military. I wouldn't be surprised if I come to know that Eritrean military is using ENDF's howitzers and tanks. Believe me, it would be happening, I think. So Eritrea is saving, it is protecting its resources. Mainly, this is war between Tigray region and Ethiopian federal government. And if you remember, in the first phase of this war, we heard rumors that Eritrean military was being paid by Ethiopian government. So it could be another angle to this conflict that Eritrea might be, again a speculation though, not a confirmation. But if we come to know that Eritrean military is being paid by Ethiopian government, it would be surprising, because in the first phase of this conflict, some information was shared that Eritrean military was being paid by Ethiopian government. So you see that financially, militarily, in terms of equipment, in terms of personnel, Eritrean military has not been weakened. That is why perhaps one of the reasons behind the start of the third phase of war is that Eritrean military is strong. ENDF has recovered. ENDF has lots of support in terms of regional forces support. Personnel supply is not a problem for ENDF. Regional forces are there, militia are there. Ethiopia can buy weapons too. Lots of weapons can be purchased by Ethiopian government. So both militaries cannot be downgraded militarily by Tigray. Tigray, on the other hand, has limited resources. Why? It's under a siege. It is difficult for Tigray to receive any supplies from abroad, and now it is almost impossible for Tigray. Even aid is not entering Tigray now. Tigray has limited resources. Ethiopia, Eritrea do not have limited resources. They have unlimited resources and they are in alliance. So that is why I personally think that Eritrean military has not been considerably weakened since the start of this conflict in November 2020. Thank you for watching.